So you're a rich parent who wants the best education for your kids. You need your kid to get into the most prestigious university possible, not just for the education, but for the pedigree, the prestige, the status. Because the right pedigree does make life ridiculously easier. Pedigree just means you come from the right family, you have the right degree from the right prestigious university, and this is one of the rare cases where a degree actually matters. You also need everyone to know that your family is superior to theirs in every way possible. So you have to do everything in your power to get your kid into an elite college like Yale or Stanford, or else. But there's just one problem. Your kids are rich kids. They were born into wealth. So unless you were a very good parent, and I mean an extremely good parent, they don't have the same drive as you. They didn't have to work for what they have. No, you forever ruined their motivation in life. So they probably don't have the best grades. They probably don't excel in any extracurricular activities, meaning they're screwed because these elite universities have extremely high standards when it comes to who they let in. Most of America's top universities have acceptance rates somewhere between just 5 to 10%. These colleges aren't looking for average students from rich families, they're looking for the most book-smart minds in the country. If your kid's SAT score isn't in the 1500 range, don't even bother trying. So this makes getting your kid into one of these elite universities with an official application almost impossible. You can already hear people whispering behind your back from a mile away. This successful guy couldn't even get his kid into an elite college? What a loser! So an official application is out of the question. But fear not, because we have a solution.
Money!
Money?
Money. Oh, okay.
See, in this world, money does buy you shortcuts. If you think that's unfair, get rich for yourself so you can buy these shortcuts too. Now the obvious route you're probably thinking about is, hey, I'll just make a giant donation to the school, I'll donate like a library or something, slap my name on the building, and then they'll have to let in my kid, right? Well, not quite. See, large donations like this are not only expensive, we're talking about millions of dollars, but it's also a little bit too obvious, a little too out in the open. One day there's a new research facility with your last name on it, and the next day your degenerate kid is admitted. It just doesn't look good, it's too brazen. And most importantly, unless you've got some deep connections with the heads of the school, even that large of a donation is not guaranteed to get your kid in. We need more certainty. We need something where I bribe you with X amount of dollars and my kid is guaranteed into the school. Well, that's where our guy Rick Singer comes in. William Rick Singer was a California college admissions consultant who had a miraculous 100% success rate. He could get any loser into the school of their dreams, for a price though. But that price was actually a ridiculous bargain compared to donating a whole new building to a school. And the best part, it was guaranteed to work. By going to Rick, you don't have to worry about an official application or making an insane $40 million donation. You wouldn't have sleepless nights wondering if your kid will get in. You would just pay the consultation fee and your kid was as good as accepted. It was a game changer. But when the FBI found out, it also turned out to be the biggest college admissions scandal in US history. My name is Jake Tran, and we make documentaries on money, power, war, and crime so that you can see the world for what it really is. A giant game of acquiring power. You can't get out of this game either way, so instead of being a victim, why not learn to be a better player? Your parents, teachers, friends, society will never teach you any of this, so we're going to. Stay dangerous, and this is Operation Varsity Blues. Do you like free stuff? Well, you can get up to 12 free stocks. Yes, up to 12 free stocks valued up to $30,600 when you sign up for Webull with the link below and deposit any amount. Yes, you can literally deposit as little as $1 after opening an account and you'll still get the free stocks. So you might as well pause the video and click the link below to claim it now. The first 2 shares you get when you open your account would be valued up to $300 each, and the next 4 to 10 shares you get when you deposit any amount into your account would be valued up to $3,000 each. And yes, once the stocks have settled in your account, you can sell them, use that money to buy other stocks, or even withdraw the money. The only catch is that this promotion is not going to last forever, so you're gonna want to do this as soon as possible. If you're not aware, Webull is a really great commission-free stock trading app that was ranked the best investment app in 2021 by Benzinga, and it has a 4.5-star rating from NerdWallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your free stocks right now by pausing the video and clicking the link below. Thanks to Webull for sponsoring this video.
Rick's services were very affordable. All it cost to get average or even below average kids into some of the best schools in the country was a small donation of $250,000 to $400,000. Officially, these donations went to the Singer's Foundation to, quote, unlock the door to academic, social, personal, and career success, end quote, for the underprivileged youth. But we both know different. See, Rick found a loophole in the admissions system. Going through the regular admissions process as a student is tough. But if you were an incredible athlete and you got recruited as an athlete, admissions could care less about your academic performance. They just want another star athlete at their university to make their school look better. So if you can get your kid recruited as an athlete to the school, they were as good as admitted. Now, you may be thinking, but my kid isn't a pro athlete. My kid has never played a sport in their life. Calm down, calm down. Your degenerate kid can be as uncoordinated as they want. You just let Rick work his magic. Once you pay Rick his donation, Rick would then cut a deal with a coach at the school you're after. Recruit this degenerate rich kid as your athlete, and you get money. Once the coach accepts the lucrative deal, which they always do, now it's time to make your kid look like an elite athlete on paper. This is where the beauty of Photoshop comes in. A client once asked Rick Singer which sport would be best for his twin daughters. Singer told him that it would make sense to turn them into sailors since they lived on a cape. Have they ever sailed before? Probably not. Did they know anything about sailing? Highly unlikely. But all Rick and his associates had to do was fake a few pictures of these rich kids playing the sport they were being recruited for, and boom, we have pro sailing athletes. Once they had a professional profile, the coach would present the athlete as their new top recruit to the admissions committee. The admissions committee obviously trusts whoever this prestigious coach brings to them, so just like that, these kids made it into the college of their dreams. It was that simple. Suddenly, these elite colleges had basketball players who were 5'5", water polo players who didn't seem to like swimming, and soccer players who couldn't score a goal to save their lives. But none of that mattered. Once they got accepted, they simply didn't show up for practice. But what if Rick didn't know a coach at the university you want to get your kid into? Well, that's where his network of test administrators came in handy. If your kid didn't have great SAT or ACT scores, Singer would arrange for a private exam under the watchful eyes of a test administrator who had already gotten their bribe of $10,000. Rick got $250,000 to $400,000 from the parents, and all he had to pay was a measly $10,000 to the test administrator. It was a very high margin product. During the exam, your kid would write the answers to questions on a separate sheet of paper. Once they answered everything to the best of their knowledge, they would leave thinking they had taken a real exam. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, once your kid was out of the building, the test administrator would take the exam themselves, carefully working on all of your kid's original answers until they reached the exact score you had asked for. Suddenly, these below-average kids had SAT scores in the 1500 range and ACT scores in the mid-30s. And since they were now some of the smartest minds in the country, the doors to America's top colleges were wide open. It was the perfect scheme. And sure, some of the parents felt guilty and wanted to confess everything to their kid, but Rick urged them not to. He wanted these kids to believe that it was all legit, and he especially didn't want them telling more people about his little operation. Unfortunately for Rick, no matter how hard he tried to keep his money-making scheme a secret, his house of cards finally began to collapse in 2018. In April 2018, a businessman from Los Angeles was arrested by the FBI. The charge? Securities fraud. At first, it seemed like a standard fraud case, nothing too spectacular. But just like most men who suddenly face jail time, the businessman was desperate to make any sort of deal to save his own skin. So he offered the feds some information they didn't see coming. According to him, Rudy Meredith, the Yale women's soccer coach, had asked him if he wanted to get his daughter into Yale for $450,000. To the FBI, this sounded a lot like bribery. So the feds began to dig a little deeper. Luckily for the FBI, scammers and millionaires don't have the same code of silence like the mafia. And when they're given the chance to save their own skin, they will spill all the beans. When the FBI brought Rudy the soccer coach into the interrogation room, he immediately spilled the beans about the entire admissions operation and its criminal mastermind, Rick Singer. And just like that, The FBI had pretty much been handed the guy at the top of it all. But that wasn't enough. The FBI knew Rick's scheme was something far bigger than just a couple of bribes here and there. This was a huge scandal involving some of the most elite colleges in America and some of the country's wealthiest families. So the FBI wasn't happy with just taking down the ringleader. They wanted the names of everyone. The coaches, the test administrators, the parents, everyone who had a hand in the scheme. So they offered Singer a deal. He would get the chance for a reduced sentence if he would wear a wire while he called his clients. Like the opportunist he was, he immediately agreed. Now working for the FBI, Rick Singer began calling all his wealthy clients pretending to check up on their kids or update them on his plans. And thanks to his manipulative skills, Rick had no problem squeezing his clients out of as many incriminating details as possible, all while the FBI was secretly listening in. And one by one, all these wealthy families were eventually outed, uncovering the biggest college admission scandal in US history. From 2011 to 2018, about 50 families paid Singer a total of $25 million to get their kids into elite colleges like Stanford, Yale, Georgetown, or USC. Actresses, CEOs, venture capitalists, and even high-profile lawyers, they all used their wealth to buy their kids a shortcut. One LA businessman had paid $400,000 to get his son into Georgetown as a fake tennis recruit. A real estate tycoon from the Bay Area paid $600,000 to get his two daughters into UCLA and USC. Even actress Lori Loughlin, who was in the sitcom Full House, paid $500,000 to get their two daughters recruited to USC through the women's rowing team. Olivia Jade, their online influencer daughter, had quite an impressive resume. It describes her as highly talented and successful in both women's and men's boats. According to her resume, she even won a gold medal in 2016. On paper, she looked like a rising star in the rowing world. Ambitious, focused, and talented. Who wouldn't want someone like that in their university? But none of this was true. Neither of the sisters had ever participated in the sport. Instead, one of the USC coaches had crafted the fake document, and it was enough to get Olivia into USC without raising any suspicion. And the best part? Since these six-figure payments to Rick Singer were labeled as donations, the parents involved also received a nice little tax write-off at the end of the year.
This enabled the parents to not only mask the true nature of the payment, but also take the tax write-off at the end of the year.
No one had ever expected they would be caught. After all, paying to get your kid into university couldn't be that big of a deal, right? Everyone does it. Unfortunately for them, the FBI didn't see it that way, and thanks to all the wiretap calls, most parents had no choice but to plead guilty. In the end, most of them had to pay five-figure fines, and some even served a few weeks to a few months in prison. And Rick Singer, he faces a maximum of 65 years in prison. As of right now, he's still a free man waiting to be sentenced. Even though they had to pay some hefty fines and serve some jail time, it looks like the wealthy elite have pretty much gotten away with their scheme. And the college admission scandal wasn't even the most shocking operation involving the wealthy elite that got uncovered in recent years. There's another case where the elite got away with something much more despicable. Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein helped build a Ponzi scheme and then used that money to snake his way into the most powerful circles in the world, eventually setting up an operation where he would bring powerful people to his properties to party with underage girls and record everything via secret hidden cameras. And every time he got in trouble with the law, the same pattern would play out. He would be magically let free. Until one day, his secret protectors, the people keeping him safe from jail, turned their back on him. And we all know what happened then. But talking about all the details of Epstein's operation and his suspicious death would definitely get demonetized on YouTube. Which is why we've released a private documentary on the man who didn't kill himself, going over all the sick details, available only to members of this channel. And so far, people have been loving the documentary. All you have to do to get access to the video on Jeffrey Epstein and all the other documentary-length videos that are too controversial, too dark, too risky to post publicly is to click the join button below. Once you sign up, you'll also get exclusive access to documentaries on CIA black sites, MKUltra, the Bin Laden papers, and many more. These are the things they should be teaching you in university about how the world works. But unlike university, you get all of this for just $5 a month. And there's a refund policy too, unlike most YouTube memberships. So if you join and you don't think it's worth it, email us within your first month of joining and we will personally refund you for your first month. After your first month, there is no refund. So scroll down and hit that join button below now.
Did you know that college admissions were this corrupt? I kinda just assumed they were, so I really wanted to make this video. And you know how we were never taught how to move up in this world in school? Well, that is the purpose of this channel. We make documentaries on money, power, war, and crime so that you can learn all the stuff they were too afraid to tell you in school in the most entertaining manner possible. So if that interests you, click that subscribe button below. But that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for being part of the Watch to the End Club. Stay dangerous, and I will see you guys in the next one.